Be me 26 years old, slaving away at a top-tier consulting firm in Chicago. My life is a montage of tailored Brooks Brothers suits, a glass-walled office, and $9 lattes that I don't even enjoy. My parents couldn't be prouder. My LinkedIn profile looks like the ultimate success story. But the truth is, I'm completely dead inside. Every single morning, I wake up with this heavy, sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach. The days are just a blur of pointless meetings, buzzing with words like synergy and deliverables. I used to dream about doing work that actually meant something. Instead, I'm just shoveling corporate garbage for a six-figure salary. I can't just walk away, though. The golden handcuffs are real. Between the student loans, the family expectations, and the illusion of prestige, I feel trapped. Everyone on the outside thinks I'm living the dream. In reality, I barely sleep. My weekends are spent either getting drunk to forget the week or staring at my ceiling wondering where I went wrong. Then comes the night that changes everything. I'm stuck at the office late because my boss demands a new slide deck by sunrise. I miss the last train home and end up wandering the city streets at 1 a.m. I stumble across this gritty, all-night diner glowing in the dark like a cheap lighthouse. The place is basically empty. It smells like grease and old coffee. There are cracked vinyl booths and a flickering neon sign. I collapse into a corner seat. That's when I see her. She looks like she's in her early 20s. She's got a messy ponytail, tired eyes, and colorful tattoos peeking out from her long sleeves. She moves between the tables with a confidence like she owns the building. Her service is short and sharp. No fake customer service smiles here. But there is something undeniably alive about her. She feels real in a way that nothing in my sterile life does anymore. She drops a mug of burnt coffee on my table without me even asking. "Rough night?" she asks. I actually laugh. It's the first genuine laugh I've had in months. "You have no idea." She just nods like, "Yeah, I probably do." I start coming back. First it was once a week, then twice. Eventually, I'm there whenever the pressure of work feels like it's going to crush me, which is constantly. She is always there. Same dirty apron, same chipped nail polish, same no-nonsense attitude. She talks to me when the diner is slow. Nothing fancy, just real conversations about music, terrible TV shows, and stories about the idiots she has to serve. I start opening up to her about my life. Not the polished LinkedIn version, but the ugly real one. I tell her about the burnout, the constant anxiety, the quiet desperation. And she listens. She actually listens, like what I'm saying has value. One night, I ask her why she's still working at a dive like this, why she isn't trying to move up in the world. She shrugs. I like it. I get to see the sun during the day. I clock out and I leave work at work. I have time to paint, she adds. I live to paint. She pulls out her cracked iPhone and shows me pictures of her work. Portraits, landscapes, weird abstract pieces. They are beautiful and raw, containing more soul in a single canvas than my entire corporate career. I start questioning everything. Why am I killing myself for a company that wouldn't notice if I vanished tomorrow? Why am I trading my limited time on Earth for suits and a slightly better job title? 1 month later, I hand in my resignation. My boss doesn't even try to convince me to stay. To him, I'm just another replaceable cog in the machine. I use my savings to rent a cheap, tiny apartment near the diner. I start picking up basic web design gigs. I work half as much, I earn half as much, but I feel twice as alive. I see Chloe every night now. Sometimes it's just for a coffee. Sometimes it's just a smile across the room. Other times we spend hours talking about absolutely nothing and everything all at once. One night, I walk her home after her shift. It's the first time she's let me do that. We stand outside her building, feeling awkward and uncertain. Suddenly, she leans in and kisses me quickly. She tastes like cheap coffee and wild hope. "You're not broken," she whispers against my lips. "You were just planted in the wrong soil." A couple of weeks after quitting corporate hell, I have this weird feeling. It's like stepping off a high-speed treadmill that never really stopped moving. The world is quieter. Sometimes it's almost too quiet. But for the first time in years, the silence isn't scary. I spend my mornings working on freelance projects and my afternoons wandering the city streets. My evenings usually end at the diner. Chloe is still there, still serving burnt coffee and smirking at my terrible jokes. One night, she slides into the booth across from me after she clocks out. She steals a fry off my plate like it's no big deal. "You look less miserable lately," she observes. "Maybe you're finally detoxing from all that corporate poison." I laugh and tell her about my first real freelance project, a simple website for a local bike shop. "It barely pays enough to cover my rent, but it's mine. I built it." She grins. "Told you. Life is better when you actually get to live it." It's easy for her to say. She seems so fearless. I ask her why she never chased bigger dreams. Art school, galleries, the whole 9 yards. She shrugs again. "Maybe I will someday, maybe I won't." Not everyone needs a 5-year plan, dude. Sometimes it's enough to just wake up and not hate yourself. It's simple, but it hits harder than any motivational speech I've ever heard. I start seeing her outside the diner too. We grab coffee at gritty hole-in-the-wall cafes. We watch bad movies in her tiny apartment, which is cluttered with half-finished canvases and mismatched furniture. We don't talk about the future, we just exist. And honestly, existing has never felt this good. One rainy night, we're walking back to her place. She starts spinning around in the downpour like an idiot, arms wide open, laughing so hard she almost slips on the wet sidewalk. "You're supposed to join me," she shouts over the rain. "Don't just stand there like a constipated accountant." Something inside me finally breaks loose. I run into the rain with her. I'm soaked through in seconds, but it's the freest I have ever felt. We end up huddled under a tiny awning, shivering and laughing. She looks up at me, her wet hair plastered to her face, her eyes bright like city lights reflecting in puddles. And for a split second, I think about kissing her for real, but I don't. Not yet. Something in the specific way she looked at me just said, "Not tonight, Jason." Later that night, I'm staring at my ceiling, completely unable to sleep. I'm thinking about Chloe. I'm thinking about how my life used to feel like a sprint I was destined to lose. Now, with her around, it feels more like a long, deliberate walk toward a destination I actually picked out myself. I'm a few months deep into this new lifestyle. The freelance work is trickling in. It's nothing fancy, but the rent gets paid and the fridge has actual food in it. I still have those panic attacks at 3 a.m. where I'm convinced I torched my future for nothing. But the panic is quieter now. It's manageable. Chloe starts becoming a fixture in my life, not just the girl serving coffee at the diner. She shows up at my apartment with fresh coffee. She leaves these tiny, intricate sketches on napkins tucked into my jacket pockets. Once, she drew a little cartoon of me drowning in a pile of invoices. The caption read, "You chose this, nerd." I stuck it right on my fridge like it was a damn trophy. We aren't official yet. No labels, no pressure. But sometimes she falls asleep on my couch, curled up tight like a cat, with dried paint still staining her fingers. And I realize that without me even paying attention, she has completely woven herself into the fabric of my day-to-day existence. One evening, we're walking back from the market. She's clutching a bag of discount vegetables like she just won the lottery. She's chatting about some idiot customer who tried to pay with Canadian currency. We're laughing, feeling normal. Then, out of nowhere, she goes dead silent. "Hey," she says, her voice taking on a weirdly serious tone. "Do you ever regret it? Leaving the high-rise life behind?" I stop walking. The clouds look heavy, threatening rain again. I actually think about it. Sometimes I'm terrified, I admit. But no, no regrets. She nods slowly. There's a long pause before she whispers, "Good. I would have hated being the reason you stayed miserable." It hits me that she's scared too. She's terrified I'll wake up one morning and decide I want the shiny life back, the perfect suits, the corner office, and the version of myself that she doesn't fit into. I don't overthink it. I just act. I grab her hand, pull her in close, and kiss her. It's not tentative or questioning this time. It's real. She freezes for a split second, then kisses me back like she's been holding her breath for months. Later, back in her messy apartment, we're tangled together under a cheap, scratchy blanket. She murmurs, half asleep, "Don't ever go back to the old Jason." "Okay," I whisper, kissing her forehead. "Not a chance." Life actually feels solid for once. My small gigs are piling up. Chloe is getting more art commissions. Our nights together are turning into a steady routine. Still no "what are we" talk. Just two people orbiting closer and closer until gravity takes over. Then one night it happens. A stupid small fight. It starts because I'm late picking her up after her shift. A client call ran over and I let it. It was a simple misunderstanding, but she was standing outside in the cold for 20 minutes. When I pull up, her arms are crossed and she's tapping her foot aggressively. She slides into the passenger seat and slams the door way harder than necessary. The drive home is silent. You could cut the tension with a plastic spoon. We get to her place. I think she's going to break up with me right there, but she just sits staring out the window. "You said you wouldn't become like them," she mutters, her voice low and sharp. "Like who?" I ask, playing dumb even though I know exactly who she means. She waves her hand vaguely. "The people who forget. The people who choose the job over the life." I feel like I got punched in the gut. Immediate defensive mode engaged. "It was one call, Chloe. One meeting." "Yeah, sure. And then next time, it's the next 10 times." It's not like that. It never is until it is. We end up yelling, saying dumb shit we don't mean. She accuses me of slipping back into my corporate persona. I accuse her of being unrealistic about how the world works. Not everyone can just paint their feelings and call it a day, I snap. Stupid. So incredibly stupid. She looks at me and her eyes are shining, not with anger but with hurt. "Maybe I was wrong about you," she says quietly. She gets out of the car and walks inside without looking back once. I sit in my car for a long time with the engine off, just listening to the rain tapping on the roof. I feel like the old life, the one I thought I had escaped, just reached out of the grave and grabbed my ankle again. The next morning, I sent her a text. Simple. I'm sorry, can we talk? I wait hours, no answer. I go to the diner, she isn't there. Someone else is covering her shift. 2 days of absolute radio silence follow. I realize something terrifying. If I don't fix this, I am going to lose the first real thing that has ever felt like it belonged to me. I show up at her apartment. My heart is hammering against my ribs. It's raining again, because of course it is. She opens the door. She looks tired and worn out, but she steps aside and lets me in without a word. I sit awkwardly on her sagging couch and take a deep breath. You were right, I say. I was scared. I got a taste of that old adrenaline, the validation of a client needing me, and I forgot. Even if it was just for a second. But I don't want that life back, Chloe. Not if the cost is losing you. She stares at me in silence, then speaks quietly. I'm scared too, you know. Of what? Of believing in something that has the power to break me. She pauses. I'm scared of building a life with someone who is just going to leave the moment a shinier, richer life comes along. I move closer on the couch and take her hand. Her fingers are freezing cold wrapped around mine. Then let's build something that isn't shiny, I tell her. Let's build something messy and stubborn and real. She laughs through her tears and nods. We didn't fix everything that night. Not magically and definitely not completely. But we started the process, slow, honest, and choosing each other over and over again. A few months after that night, the relationship feels different. It's not perfect, and it's certainly not a fairy tale, but it's solid. We still have fights and we still have doubts, but now we talk through them. We stay. We fight for the relationship, not against each other. My work is getting steadier too. The small website gigs are turning into bigger projects. I even land a retainer contract with a local business. It isn't glamorous work, but it's steady. It pays the bills and leaves a little extra. Chloe is still working at the diner and still painting, but her commissions are growing too. One night, we're lying on the floor of her apartment, surrounded by sketchbooks and empty pizza boxes. We start talking about dreams, the kind you're usually afraid to say out loud because they feel too big to be real. She confesses, sometimes I imagine having a real studio. Nothing fancy, she says, just a room full of natural sunlight and messy canvases. Maybe a tiny coffee machine in the corner. I laugh. What about a desk for me? She grins. Only if you're the one making the coffee. Deal. We spend weeks searching, checking Craigslist and sketchy online ads. Everything is either a rat-infested closet or outrageously expensive. Then one day we stumble across it. It's a tiny brick building that used to be an old tailor shop. It has dusty, cracked windows and peeling paint, but it's cheap, and more importantly, it's ours. We spend our weekends fixing it up, scraping floors, painting walls, and installing second-hand shelves for her art. I set up a tiny desk in the corner for my laptop. Chloe finds an ancient espresso machine at a thrift store. She fixes it herself because, of course, she does. The first day it's finished, we sit on the floor, backs against the fresh paint, with 2 mugs of questionably brewed coffee between us. Sunlight is pouring through the clean windows. There's paint on her jeans and dust in my hair. She leans her head on my shoulder. We built this, she whispers. And we did. Brick by brick, mistake by mistake, hug by hug. Her first art show happens 6 months later. It's at a small gallery. Half the people there are our friends, the other half are randoms just looking for free wine, but it doesn't matter. Seeing her standing in front of her work, beaming, her eyes shining with a mix of pride and terror, makes my heart hurt in the best possible way. After the show, back at our little studio, she pulls me close. Thank you for believing in me, she whispers. I tell her the truth. You taught me that life doesn't have to be shiny to be good. We still have bad days. We have late rent checks, slow projects, and nights when doubt creeps in like mold under the door. But now I have someone to fight it with. Someone who reminds me we didn't come this far just to give up. Be me now. 28 years old. Chloe is 26. We are still in our tiny studio, still drinking bad coffee and still laughing at dumb jokes nobody else would understand. Business isn't booming, but it is breathing, and that is enough. I take on freelance gigs for small businesses and artists now, designing logos, websites, and social media campaigns. Chloe's paintings have started getting real attention. She sold a couple to local cafes, and one even made it into a bigger gallery downtown. One random afternoon while I'm helping her restock canvases, I get an idea. It's not flashy or dramatic. It just feels right. Fast forward 2 weeks. We are hosting our own little open studio event. We have cheap wine and string lights we found at a garage sale. We baked homemade cookies that look questionable but taste okay. Friends and regular customers show up. A few strangers wander in from the street. Her paintings are on one wall. My design projects are displayed digitally on another. We call the event Art and Life. It's stupid, pretentious, and absolutely perfect. Chloe is running around laughing, glowing, fully alive. I stand in the corner for a minute, just watching her. I think about the kid I used to be, scared of everything, and the man I became, scared of losing her. Not anymore. It's the end of the night. Everyone is gone. The floor is littered with crumpled napkins and empty plastic cups. Chloe is cleaning up wearing my old hoodie. Her face is flushed from wine and happiness. I pull a small box from my jacket pocket. It's not velvet or fancy. It's just a little wooden box she once admired at a thrift shop. Inside isn't a diamond. It's a tiny, simple silver ring, hand engraved with one word on the inside. Home. I walk up to her, my heart trying to punch its way out of my chest. You once said home isn't a place, I say. You said it's a person. You were right. I open the box and hold my breath. She stares at it for a long moment like she's memorizing every detail. Then she laughs through her tears. Took you long enough, nerd. She throws her arms around me and kisses me so hard we nearly trip over the folding table. There is no grand audience, no social media announcement, no perfect Instagram photo. Just us. Just the place we built. Just the life we chose.